Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so this time we're heading into, well, kind of uncharted territory. UFOs.
Here we go.
But, and this is important, we're not diving into grainy photos or those wild conspiracy theories. We're going straight to the documented encounters, the stuff from reliable sources. Think military pilots, declassified government documents, that sort of thing.
You know, it's amazing the sheer number of these reports spanning decades.
Right. And they're not all coming from the same place or type of person either.
It makes you wonder, what's really going on up there? And why has all this information been kept so hush-hush for so long?
Okay, so let's kick things off with a spot that's practically become UFO central. The Superstition Mountains in Arizona.
Oh yeah, the superstitions. Tons of strange stuff reported there, but the amount of UFO sightings is, well, it's a lot.
It's more than just stories, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking folks with some pretty high-tech equipment. Like during those Skywatch events by TGAP-TV, you know? They're out there observing, documenting, trying to get solid evidence.
It's not just casual stargazing, is it?
Nope. Organized, methodical, the whole 9 yards.
And speaking of solid evidence, that's what makes the Old Morgan Mine incident so fascinating. Happened during a solar eclipse in South Dakota. The whole thing's detailed in Sighting 4021. So there's this young guy, Charlie Higgins, and he makes a pretty wild discovery.
Ah, yes, Charlie Higgins. This case is really interesting because of what he found. Artifacts near the mine. Analysis showed they got this almost pure magnesium.
Really?
Uh-huh. And to produce magnesium that pure here on Earth, well, it's incredibly difficult. Suggests technology, well, beyond anything we've got.
Wow. So we've got a UFO sighting during a solar eclipse and then these crazy advanced artifacts. It sounds like a movie plot.
It does, doesn't it? And then things get even more interesting. Enter Project Blue Book.
The real government program dedicated to UFO investigations.
Right. That's the one. Project Blue Book. A whole lot of history there. They were set up to investigate these events, at least on the surface. But, and there's a but, they had a habit of, let's say, downplaying things.
Even when the evidence was pretty convincing.
Sometimes, yeah. Like with the old Morgan mine incident.
Like they were trying to sweep it under the rug a bit.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Hold on. It wasn't just the government involved, was it? Didn't a TV personality, Timothy Hooper, get mixed up in this too?
He did. Hooper saw a chance to sensationalize the story. Didn't exactly help matters.
Makes it hard to separate fact from fiction, doesn't it?
It does. Especially for folks like Charlie and his girlfriend Lori.
They were there, saw it all firsthand.
And now they're caught between the government trying to keep things quiet and the media hyping it all up.
Oh.
It's a tough spot to be in.
You know, it makes you wonder if all these accounts are true, and there really are people trying to keep them quiet.
Right.
What else is out there? What are they so afraid of?
That is the million-dollar question. It's a question a lot of people have been asking for a long time. I mean, think about it. If we really did have confirmed contact, extraterrestrial contact, that's huge.
World-changing, even.
Exactly. So it kind of makes sense that governments might, try to control how that information gets out.
So where does it all begin? Like, when did governments start taking UFOs seriously?
Well, to understand that, we've got to go back a bit. Mid-20th century, post-World War II, Cold War is heating up.
Tense times.
Yeah. And suddenly there's this surge in UFO sightings. And we're not talking about, random folks. These are military pilots, radar operators.
People who know what they're looking at.
Exactly. The government couldn't just ignore it.
And that's where Project Blue Book comes in.
Right on. 1952. The Air Force's big attempt to figure out what was going on with all these UFO reports.
On the surface, it seemed like they were trying to get to the bottom of it.
Interviews, data collection, analysis, the whole shebang.
But as we saw with that old Morgan mine case, there was this tendency to, well, dismiss things, even with pretty strong evidence.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. Like they were trying to convince everyone, including themselves, that it was nothing to worry about.
So what was the real deal with Project Blue Book? Was it legit investigation, or were they trying to cover things up?
There's still debate about that. Some say they were doing their best with what they had. Others think it was all about controlling the narrative.
It was a different time back then. Lots of secrets, especially with the Cold War going on.
Oh, for sure. Any unexplained thing in the sky could have been seen as a threat from the Soviets. Can you imagine the panic if people thought the Russians had tech that advanced?
Chaos.
Chaos is right. So, yeah, they wanted to stay in control. But did they find anything truly groundbreaking? Any solid proof of aliens?
That's what I want to know.
Officially, nope. Most sightings, they said, were just misidentified planes, weather stuff, hoaxes. But And this is key. A lot of cases remained unexplained.
The ones that keep us coming back for more.
Exactly. Those unexplained cases are the fuel. But Blue Book wasn't the only game in town. There were other programs, more secretive.
Spooky.
Yeah. We may never know the full story of what they found or what they're still hiding.
It's like a puzzle with missing pieces. We see glimpses of something amazing, but the full picture, it's out of reach.
And that's the allure, isn't it? It makes us question everything we thought we knew about the world. Maybe, just maybe, we're not alone.
Okay, so if the government's been so hush-hush about UFOs for so long, why are we seeing more info come out now? Like, the Pentagon released those videos, right? What's changed?
It's a few things, actually. The UFO research community, they've been pushing hard for transparency, FOIA requests, all that, trying to get the government to acknowledge what they know.
So the public's basically saying, we deserve to know the truth.
Pretty much. And with the internet, social media, it's a lot harder to keep secrets nowadays. But there's also the whole national security angle. Things are more complex now. Drones, advanced tech from other countries.
They can't just brush it all off as weather balloons anymore.
Not really. There's a real fear that some of these unidentified things could be advanced tech from, a rival nation.
That's a game changer.
It is. They've got to take it seriously.
So it seems like we're at a turning point in all this. More info than ever before, and the government's finally admitting that, yeah, something weird's going on. It feels like we're really entering a new phase when it comes to UFOs. But as we keep digging, it's not just about, the objects themselves.
Right. It's about the people.
Yeah, like Charlie and Lori with those artifacts.
Yeah.
It reminds us that there are real people behind all these reports.
People whose lives have been changed by these experiences.
They took a risk by coming forward. Who knows what they might face for sharing their story?
It takes a lot of courage to do that, especially when there might be powerful people trying to, keep them quiet.
Their story and others like it, it's a reminder that this isn't just some abstract thing. It's real people's lives.
Yeah, it's personal.
So where do we go from here? What's next for UFO research and, getting the truth out there? It feels like we're at a crossroads. More info than ever, but so much is still unknown.
It really is a fascinating time to be part of all this. I think the whole conversation is changing. People want transparency. They're ready to accept that something extraordinary might be happening.
The stigma's fading.
Yeah, and with all the new technology, we've got better tools to investigate.
New generation of researchers too, right?
Absolutely. Scientists, journalists, they're approaching this with a fresh perspective. And citizen science is booming. People are using tech to do their own research.
It feels like a wave is building, like we're on the verge of some big discoveries.
It's exciting, but we also need to be realistic. The truth about UFOs, whatever it may be, it's probably going to be complicated.
We might not get all the answers we want.
Maybe not, but the journey itself, that's what matters. So for our listeners who are, hooked on this topic, what can they do? How can they stay informed?
Yeah, what advice would you give?
Stay curious, keep asking questions, look at things from different angles. Don't be afraid to explore the unknown. But, and this is important, be critical.
Don't just believe everything you see.
Exactly. Find good sources, check the facts, think about who's saying what and why.
And talk to people.
Yeah, even if they disagree with you. The UFO community, it's diverse. There's room for different viewpoints. By sharing info, debating things respectfully, we can all get closer to the truth.
And don't forget, your voice matters. Share your thoughts, ask those tough questions, demand transparency.
The more people who get involved, the more likely we are to see real change. At the end of the day, this search for answers about UFOs, it's a search for ourselves, our place in the universe, what's real, what's possible.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know.
Exactly. We need open minds, critical thinking, and a commitment to finding the truth, no matter where it leads.
We might not have all the answers yet, but one thing's for sure. The truth is out there. And as we keep exploring, asking questions, learning, we might find it's closer than we think. The truth is here.